People want to start a coin, okay? And let's differentiate between a coin and a token. A coin is like a currency. A coin it's not necessarily even Ethereum based, but a coin doesn't represent a ownership interest. It's not a security. A coin is typically not launched through an ICO, but can be. And the question becomes, what structure, if I'm launching a coin, what type of structure should it have? And I've spoke about this before, and I spoke about this in the context of foundations, right? And I don't like foundations because foundation implies not for profit. And I think that's one, limiting, and I think that's two, perhaps untrue in a sense, right? There is some profit motive behind launching a coin in most cases. As it relates to the structure that you have to use, you definitely need a structure, right? There's still liability in launching a coin, and there definitely needs to be some sort of entity behind it. And really, the best structure for that is a trust. And there's plenty of offshore trusts, which I'll talk about in a different episode. But there's also a lot of good structures that are domestic that would certainly do the trick. And again, in a trust, you have a trustee who's in charge of the trust corpus or the property of the trust. And then the beneficiaries of the trust are the owners or the people who are entitled to receive the property in that trust. So basically, like your coin holders in this case. And one of the great places, oddly enough, for domestic trusts is South Dakota, right? And South Dakota has and you hear a lot about Delaware and Alaska, and they're good. They're good. South Dakota just tends to be the best, and there's a few reasons why. Number one, the trust is a self-settled trust, meaning a trust that's settled by the person who may be a beneficiary, is immune from creditor suits, meaning that in the event of like a lawsuit or anything like that, a creditor can't attach, right, or obtain any of the trust corpus, the trust property. So in this case, like in the case of a coin, your trust property is likely to be more coin, right? And so what you want to be able to do is sort of shield that from any sort of creditor claims, and that's what a South Dakota trust is able to do. Number two, it has what's called a protector. And so, typically with like a South Dakota trust, you have a professional trustee. You pay a trustee a certain fee for a year to, on an annual basis to act as the trustee of the trust. And that trustee is to some degree to govern the assets of the trust, which in the case of, a decentralized coin or token, and really there's nothing to do, right? So you're safe in that regards, but the South Dakota law allows for something called the trust protector. And a trust protector is an individual or an entity that, in the instance or the case of any sort of legal peril, call it, has the ability to terminate the trustee and take the trust corpus and move that trust corpus, right? So has the ability to effectively take the trust property and move that to a different jurisdiction to seemingly shield it from any sort of legal peril, like a lawsuit or anything like to that effect. So it's really important, and like that trust protector is really common with offshore trusts because those are asset protection trusts by nature, and you want to see like the utmost ability to sort of override a trustee, and you see that with South Dakota Trust, which is rare, if not unheard of in the United States. So two main reasons: obviously South Dakota trust income is tax-free by the state. You still have to contend with the IRS, but at least you're not dealing with state level taxation. And so for starting a coin of any nature, right, you definitely need an entity. You definitely need something that is alive from a legal perspective, right, that has some sort of formation behind it, because if not, you as the promoter are, much like with any, like just starting a regular company, you're creating a lot of liability for yourself. So check me out. If you have any questions, hit me up. My information's below, tracyfirm.com, at@tracyfirm.com, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.